Hello, thank you for visiting our channel, Good Alternative. I will talk to you now about an article called Physical versus Spiritual. This article is from chapter 15 of my book called Self-Improvement Handbook. And this is what it looks like if you haven't seen it before. I'm not sure if you can see it properly in the camera. You can get this book from Amazon, or you can contact Good Alternative if you want a copy. Okay. This article also appeared on the August 2019 edition of Good Alternative magazine. The title of this article is not quite correct because there really isn't a conflict between physical and spiritual. Physical and spiritual are simply two elements that make up a person as a human being. The physical element of a person functions in a different way in comparison to a person's spiritual element. And knowing how the physical and spiritual part of you function can help to make life a lot easier, calmer, happier, and more peaceful. And also, this can help you achieve more in life. Okay, let's start. I am approaching this subject of the human mind and behavior, the working system, in two ways simultaneously. The first is the philosophical aspect. It is quite possible that by merely reading the principles and philosophy of the human mind and behavior, you can change your lifestyle and live a happier life, as many have already done. The second is the practical aspect, which assures that you are more likely to better your life after practical application of the philosophy through the exercises as outlined. Ideally, for optimum result, you need both the philosophy and the practical aspects. My experience shows that you do not generally make much progress if you address the human being as a merely physical entity. However, you often get impressive improvements when you address a person as a spirit. So basically, this is what a human being is, a spirit. A person tends to show marked improvements when he or she recalls the things he or she is separate from. However, if you ask a person to recall the things he or she is connected to, then you would find that the person's condition is likely to worsen, due mostly to ally and sympathy, which was covered in April 2019 edition of Good Alternative. Therefore, it is possibly reasonable to ask, if it is so good to be separate, then why does a person insist on being connected or attached? It looks like we are dealing with inversion mechanism, which the human being seems to have. A good way to explain this inversion mechanism is this question: have you ever got a feeling or idea that you are fighting something, yet in actuality there was nothing physically there to fight? So now, whom did you think you were fighting? You would probably say, well, I suppose I was fighting myself. This answer is both interesting and intriguing at the same time, because why should a person fight him or herself? Many ancient schools of thoughts propound that for a manifestation to occur, then two opposites must meet or combine to produce a third one. For example, to get electric light, the positive and negative polarities must come together, and so on. This principle also applies to every human being. So, when someone gets the feeling that he or she is fighting him or herself, this is possibly a correct statement. Evidently, there must be two beings with opposing views for a fight to occur. With every individual, there is the physical being and the spiritual being. These two parts of the human being seem to be in constant battle with each other, and many religious books refer to this as the constant war between good and evil. This constant battle between your physical and spiritual beings can sap your energy, and you could wonder why you are always tired, or why you do not seem to have enough energy to do things you would want to do. However, this need not be so. The physical being deals with reality as it sees it, the way things are. For example, you could find a person trying to achieve a goal. He or she would keep trying after each failure, thinking that more effort would help him or her achieve the goal. But by the time you know it, he or she would be sucked in deeper and deeper, and the person would get progressively more serious until it becomes quite clear to him or her that he or she has failed. Then he or she would give up and try something else. Giving up is not often easy. This then is the physical reality, and this is an example of how the physical being would function. I hope you're following that, and I hope I haven't lost you in any way. On the other hand, the spiritual being deals with the vision thing. It deals with the creative thing. It deals with the creative, with idea, with consideration, and so on. You see, everything in this world and beyond, including time, space, energy, mass, and so on, come about due to consideration and agreement. For example, if the idea of time is conceived and everybody comes to agree that time exists, then this will become a reality. The same principle applies for every other thing in the world. Therefore, the spiritual being is part and parcel of the original source of creation. Not the physical, the spiritual is part and parcel of the original source of creation. In other words, idea, opinion, consideration, and so on is superior to space, energy, time, and mass. Therefore, idea, opinion, consideration, and so on, which is spirit, should take precedence over space, energy, time, and mass, which is physical. However, the situation is often reversed due to the inversion mechanism. This is mostly because the human being gets himself or herself sucked into the physical realities so much that he or she would begin to think that the physical realities take precedence over everything else, such as ideas, opinions, considerations, creativity, and so on. Consequently, due to this inversion mechanism, an average human being operates on the secondary opinion that his or her own personal considerations and ideas are less important than space, energy, time, and mass. You see, space, energy, time, and mass, and their combinations have taken such precedence in people that these physical realities have become more important than ideas and considerations and creativity. Therefore, a person's ability is overpowered, and he or she is unable to act freely, and he or she would feel trapped by his or her own making or creation. This is so because the daily considerations that people make are the actual source of space, energy, time, and mass. Therefore, by operating on the secondary level, the physical realities, a person becomes unable to alter his or her basic considerations, ideas, creativity, and so on, and consequently unable to alter the conditions in which he or she dwells. Freedom, then, of an individual depends on the person's ability to alter his or her considerations of space, energy, time, and mass, and his or her roles in it. Let me read that again to you. Freedom, then, of an individual depends on the person's ability to alter his or her considerations of space, energy, time, and mass, and his or her roles in it. If a person cannot do this, then he or she is enslaved by barriers such as those of the physical universe and barriers of his or her own creation. If you sometimes feel that you are fighting yourself, then you are possibly aware of your spiritual being as well as your physical being. Now, the spiritual being has qualities that are opposite to the physical being. Your physical being has limitations in terms of its abilities and capabilities. It feels emotions and so gets sucked in or attached to the physical world. On the other hand, your spiritual being has no limitations in terms of its abilities and capabilities. For example, you can imagine whatever you want. There's no limit to what you can imagine. Also, the spiritual being can be free of physical emotions, and so it can detach itself from the physical world and sort of observe things impartially from a distance. Only your spiritual being can do that. So, try this exercise. Recall the instances in your life when you felt that you were being slowly sucked into something or a situation. When you felt trapped and unable to get out of a situation. When you were getting more and more serious about something or someone or a situation, and so on. How did you feel and react? What was the environment like? Keep going over these incidents one at a time, including all the sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and so on present, until they no longer bother you or until you are cheerful about them. So, in future, when you feel yourself getting in deeper and deeper and becoming more serious about something or a situation, then take a step back and observe the incident from a detached point of view. Better still, see yourself or imagine yourself as a spirit being observing the incident from a distance without becoming emotional about it. With this spiritual way of approaching things, you could find that the importance that you attach to some things and incidents through emotions could gradually diminish, making you a happier and more fulfilled person. This question still remains unanswered. Why do people continue to seek to be connected or attached to things and other people if it causes so much problems? It seems that the human being is aware that life is a game. People are aware that they are playing the game of life. However, they generally get very serious and involved in the game that they get sucked in so much that the person generally becomes part of the game. And in this state, the person is no longer in control of the game. Instead, the game is now controlling the person. When in fact, what the person should do is to step backward and play the game of life with a detached attitude and not take it too seriously, just like your spiritual being. Okay. This is talking about your spiritual self being able to detach yourself from problem you have and observing it from a distance. For example, imagine yourself on top of a mountain and holding a stone. Now imagine that this stone is the problem you currently have. Now let go of the stone and let it fall down the mountain. You have now detached yourself from your problem by letting go the stone. How would you feel then? You would feel relieved and happy because you have let go your problem. And do you know that only your spiritual self can do this? The vision thing, the imagination thing, the creative thing, and so on. It is your spiritual self that produces healing and miracles. Only your spiritual self can do that. So, do practice letting go and being detached. On the other hand, your physical self tends to get attached to people and situations and get deeper and deeper and more serious. But if you practice detachment and letting go and observing people and things from a distance, then you could find that you can cope better with some difficult situations. Okay, that's all I have for you on this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you like it, then please subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we upload new video. You're welcome to leave your comments and do request for your free monthly copy of our Good Alternative magazine if you haven't already done so. We will send it to you via WhatsApp or email. Okay, as always, look after yourself and bye for now.